All right, let's see how this is going through. I think it is. I think it's working. They got a new setup here on YouTube. If you're a creator, you know. Anyway, welcome to the show. Today is the 16th of December, 2025. Hello, June. Hello, everybody else. I'm just trying to keep up with current events here. A lot of things happening. I'm sure you've seen the news. First, I want to apologize for my last show. I was all over the place. I promise I'm not doing any cocaine. I know it's what it kind of sounded like. I kept interrupting myself, wouldn't finish a sentence. But I just had a lot on my mind. I had a lot of topics to talk about, and just couldn't keep it sequitur. So I'll try to do better now. So I want to talk about, of course, the topic of the show, which is your rights, but in the context of a couple of recent events that have an impact or could have an impact on those rights. First, I'll just refer you to my practically free book, okay? I get no money out of it, but I wrote a book on inalienable rights. It's super short. It's really just like an essay. And you can get it free on Amazon if you search for that and my name, Curtis Elmore. And I'm sure it's free if you get it in Kindle format. But I just want to get it out there. But I spent a lot of time and effort getting it together. And I think it explains the interplay of your rights very well. Better than I'm going to do today, I'm sure. Because I didn't, unfortunately, review it before I'm doing this show. Because, bam, I'm shooting from the hip. Because I think I know the rights well enough in the context that we're going to talk about today. But, so let's get going, I should say. The first and most important one that I guess I want to talk about. All right. I saw a meme which related to rights in general. And it said it had some Bill of Rights, and then it had life. And under life it said inalienable, and under the Bill of Rights it said amendable. And okay, sure, you could look at it that way if you want. It's important that the rights be protected, institutionalized, and protected by law. However, you have to know the extent of the right to life. Your right to life doesn't give you the right to a long life or a healthy life. It just gives you the right to not be killed by your government. That's all it means, really. It doesn't give you any type of specific life at all. It just means the government shouldn't kill you. That's it. That's all it means. And it means if you get killed by somebody else, I mean, you're dead, right? So your right to life is already over. And yeah, they're going to punish that person, but your right to life is gone, right? It's gone. You're dead. So a lot of things can kill you. You can be killed by a falling rock, another person, disease. You can just die for unknown causes. It just happens. So your right to life doesn't give you any particular life. It just gives you the one you've got right now. And that's important for things like the COVID situation that we ran into recently, because people were saying, well, man, you're endangering my life by going out without the vaccine. All right. Well, here's the thing about that. Your right to life lets you go out, and my right to life lets me go out. And we have a right to equality, which makes those things equal, obviously. Now, I can go out the way that I want to, and you can go out the way that you want to. And you can't say I can't go outside just because you think my way is threatening to your life. That's not how it works. If you think your life is threatening, you have to go home. That's That's how your protection of your life works. You don't get to say, I can't live my life in a way that you think is threatening. If you want, I'll go into the tort law about that and the criminal law too. But you just don't get to dictate that for other people. All you get to do is stay alive and have the government not kill you, and that's it. Now, the rest of your rights, and like for example, your gun rights, your Second Amendment rights. Well, all of your rights exist. They expand at least until they come up against somebody else's rights. Okay? So if there was nobody else, you could do whatever you wanted to. But of course, there are other people. And so you can't do some things because the other people around and they have rights as well. And so equality manages all of this. But the bottom line is when you look at something like gun ownership in and of itself doesn't affect anybody. The ownership of the gun does not hurt anyone. So it's very hard to justify infringing that right when there's literally nobody being harmed by it. You have to project into the future some type of theoretical harm, some future harm that the person's not intending. You have to imagine a future crime or a future accident in order to justify infringing that person's right to just own stuff, to just possess a thing. And it's the same for possession of all kinds of things, drugs and whatever else. The mere possession of these things should not be able to be infringed by the government because it doesn't impinge upon anybody else's right. And so, you guys can do what you want in Australia. Clearly, you're going to take people's guns again because it worked so well the first time. I don't know. I guess you imagine that there were, and it's fair to imagine that there could have been lots of crimes committed by guns in between then and now had you not taken away the guns the first time. But from my perspective, I think we're in a situation where we really have too few guns out in society. That's my real position, which is to say, if the criminals thought that there was more danger of being shot, there would be more law and order. In places like California, man, I mean, there is no danger that they're going to get shot. I mean, even if there was a rooftop Korean shooting somebody these days, they'd prosecute the rooftop Korean. So the criminals have just a much wider reign than they need to have and than they should have. And the way to get that back is to have some threat involved and to protect the citizens who are protecting themselves. We have these crazy situations where we have people who are shooting intruders in their home or intruders who are trying to leave their home, and they get prosecuted by these overzealous prosecutors. And it's really a shame. But look at how far it's gone. Now, I want to bring us back to the speech issue because this is super important. And I hope I'm not already doing the same thing I did last week, cutting myself off. But the speech issue is super important, and we have two major Western countries who are abdicating the speech issue. Now, the reason the speech issue is so fundamental is because if you can't share expressions, then you can't share ideas. And I know that people are going to say, well, look, you can draw a line between intentionally bad expressions and expressions that are just accidentally bad, but you really can't. And that's the problem with speech is once you start regulating it in any way, then you come up against all kinds of definitional problems. For example, we have sarcasm. And in the South, we have an expression down here where we say, well, what is it? Shit. I just had a tip of my tongue. It's bless your heart. Bless your heart. If you're down here in the southern United States and you say something and somebody says, well, just bless your heart, that means you're an idiot. All right. Now, unfortunately, in countries like the UK or Germany, apparently, if you say bless your heart to somebody online, you can be arrested. I mean, I don't think I can go to either of those countries under the current regimes, honestly, because I very well may have said something that offends somebody, according to a court over there in the UK or Germany. And I'm going to play you a couple of clips of some officials over there so that you know that I'm not just making this shit up, because you really have to see it to believe it. You really have to see it to believe it, to see how far they've gone in trying to control negative expressions. And look, they have the best of intentions. I really think they do. I mean, there may be some people up there with bad intentions, but I think most of them really believe. You're going to hear from them, and you'll see they seem sincere. They're just missing the forest for the trees. Going after people in this way is going to chill speech to the extent that people will be unable to share ideas, because it'll just be too easy for someone to label something as sarcastic or insulting. If you leave it up to the person who's ostensibly being insulted, if you make it a subjective standard, it's just way too open. It's just way too broad. It's just way too easy to say, I'm insulted. and the person I don't like or saying the things I don't like should be arrested. And in the UK, it's happening. All right, I'm going to play you these clips. This is two things. This is Germany first, from 60 Minutes.
That's clear. Is it a crime to insult somebody in public?
Yes. It is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes. The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking face to face, you insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
it sticks around forever.
Yeah.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because the reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can include jail time for repeat offenders. But in most cases, a judge levies a stiff fine and sometimes keeps their devices. How do people react when you take their phones from them?
they are shocked.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany. Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime.
And the crime, of course, is saying something that offended somebody. That's the crime they're talking about. 6 a.m. raids in Germany, and I hear they arrest dozens of people today. What the hell are you doing over there? I mean, that's some Nazi shit. I guess it's you guys. Oh, shit. See, I just did it right there. I bet you that slip right there, just by saying that, would get me arrested in Germany. So I'm not going to Germany. I mean, I would like to. I have German heritage. My great-grandfather was German. But can't do it, apparently, because of stuff like that. And in America, it's difficult to get in trouble for jokes, in trouble with the government. I've seen the case law. There was a time you could get in trouble with the government. Those cases were appealed. We now have appeals cases which protect you and show, look, if you can prove, if it's pretty obvious that you were making a joke, they're going to let you off. And these days, the government usually doesn't come after you in America when you say horrible shit, because they realize the First Amendment is very powerful here. And damn glad it is. But, of course, in this country, you can suffer all kinds of consequences. We just went through a period of cancel culture where people could lose their jobs, all kinds of things. And it's fine if people are doing it voluntarily, obviously. If you lose some friends because of something that you say, that's the same thing as you gaining some friends because of something that you said. That's just on you. But man, to lose your freedom because of that, and to leave it up to the person who is, I guess it's a subjective standard. It actually doesn't sound like it. It actually sounds like a strict liability standard. It sounds like they've decided that certain words are so offensive that they can conclude that should you use these words in relation to anybody else, that you have offended them. Your intent it appears to be irrelevant. Because I can tell you right now that I had no intention right then of equating those Germans with Nazis right then. I mean, doesn't matter what they're acting like. I would not say that they are Nazis in that way. Wouldn't do it. And so knowing that as my intentions, you would think they would take that into account, but I bet they wouldn't. I bet they would say, "No, you didn't mean it. That's not what you meant right then. You're being sarcastic when you said that." Actually, that's not. We do not think that you meant that. My German accent's not. It's not great. I should work on that. But we have had sort of quasi-governmental interference. I mean, I don't know if you could call it that. I mean, you hear about things like Nick Fuentes said that he was canceled by the Jewish lobby. And we don't know. People are allowed to make phone calls. They are allowed to put their money behind or in front of various projects. To me, that all seems legal and just fine. He is golden now, by the way, as the Streisand effect took over there, and people were like, "Well, what the hell is he saying?" And I actually went and watched a couple of hours of Nick this last week. I saw his interview with Piers Morgan, and Piers is a jerk. Let me just say, it was pretty clear that Piers went in to get him, and even though Fuentes let him off the hook, I thought, in a couple of different ways, because in the end, Piers asked him if he thought he was ambushed, and Fuentes said no, and I was like, yeah, and also Piers did a bunch of characterizing of shit. Like, Fuentes called him out a couple times during the interview. He said things like, "Well, you're going after my family. Just stick with me in the issues." I definitely would have said that to him. I would have said, "Look, you don't have to bring up my dad or whatever. Just talk to me about the issues." And instead, Piers went after the character. He went after the man. He tried to make it a hit piece. And it was about 50-50. I think Fuentes beat him on some things, but Fuentes conceded a couple of things he didn't have to. He said, "Oh, I'm a racist," and the way that he describes himself is not exactly a racist. It's more like he takes race into account. He's racial, but he's not just automatically negatively inclined towards any particular race. It didn't seem like. I think you have to take that into account. And some of the other things he said, like when he said Hitler was cool, Piers just refused to see what Fuentes was talking about there. Fuentes was talking about shit like the cool uniforms and the zeitgeist of the time, not the fact that he was an insane murderer. Obviously, he's not cool for that reason. It's like saying Darth Vader is cool. Darth Vader is cool. He blew up fucking Alderaan, okay, but he's cool. I mean, you don't want to blow up Alderaan. You're not in favor of blowing up Alderaan, okay? But Darth Vader was cool. That's what Nick was saying, I believe, when he talks about Hitler being cool and Stalin being cool. And now, okay, one caveat to that, and I will say this, and I'll throw Nick under the bus a little bit for this, and that is he talks about wanting a strong man and central power. And I think we've been through that here. I mean, we've tested that hypothesis, and it sucks. And maybe we haven't been through it here, but we've been through it in history. And our current construct is one that would do better at this point to decentralize a bit. You always have to take into account where you are in history, whether you need to centralize further or decentralize a bit. Because, I mean, where there's no security, you have to centralize because you got to get security. But once you have security, you don't want too much security. And so you have to constantly bleed off the government a bit as much as you can. It's overhead. But, I mean, look, Nick is trying to make sure that America wins. And I think that is also critical. But the way that we would go about it is different. Nick believes that it's the central government that has to make the decisions, and they have to do it with massive spending or whatever they want. And he doesn't even know what that is. I mean, he suggests a couple things, I think, but not really. From my perspective, what you want to do is what we've been doing, which is let the Americans in the public win. Let the people enrich themselves to the extent that we are so powerful economically that nobody else can challenge us. And we've done a great job with that. And we just really need to take the yoke off the workers, as I talked about in my last show. We really have to free the workers. And I want to talk about the things that I have in common with the socialists, but it's not the things, unfortunately, that Nick is promoting. When he talks about a strong man and subsidies for, he's just going full Keynesian again, and that's just what everybody's done so far, and you can't do it. And I talked about why in the last episode, but for now, I just wanted to talk about Nick and the speech issue, which is, he's treading all over the norms right now, and it's fine. And he's a next generation kid, and he's paving the way. You have to be able to share ideas. We have had a crazy time, especially in the last 10 or 15 years, with this PC stuff. It's gotten totally out of hand. People have talking about words or violence. Oh, God. There was an old rhyme, sticks and stones. Every kid knows it. Every kid should learn it. Every kid should internalize it. And every person should accept it as reality, which is the words, they can get so harsh. Oh, my God, they can get so harsh. And here's all you have to do. La 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 la. That's it. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. And I know some people are like, well, they wrote it down. Those people were like, oh, we wrote it down online, and so it's a horrible offense. It's just not that bad. You just don't have to worry about it. Here is another thing I think you have to see. This is the UK. Watch what happens here.
Counts 2 and 4, the racially aggravated offences, there will be custodial terms of 6 months, and on counts 6, 8, 9 and 10, custodial terms of 4 months, all such terms to run concurrently, and all suspended for a period of 18 months. If during that 18-month period you commit any further counts 2.
Okay, so if you didn't see what happened there, is somebody in the UK was being sentenced for racial offenses, which were words online, and they were given 6 months in jail that was suspended. And what that means is that they don't have to go to jail if, as the judge was saying, over the next 18 months they don't do the shit again. Okay, so it's like a probation thing. But here's the thing. If they do, if they post anything, they get 6 months in jail. I mean, how can you even take the chance of going online at that point? Because you might say something that somebody might interpret as offensive, and then you go to jail for 6 months. Again, the United Kingdom. To me, the UK and Germany, because of these particular lapses, really have fallen out of the West for me. I mean, I'm not going there. I'm not going because how could you, if you have any presence online? And I mean, I have thousands of hours of podcasts and writings and things going back decades. And even if it wasn't even me sometimes, but I am with people who were saying shit, I'm sure that was highly offensive to the current constabulary in the UK and Germany. And who knows where else. But that does not seem like a sustainable path, because it seems to me they're either going to arrest a large number of their citizens and really face internal turmoil thereby or therefrom, or people are going to revolt in a sort of, they're just going to blow it off. They're just going to form rebel groups of cursors. Can you imagine the terror of a group of linguists to just carefully go around and just pick apart the English and German constabulary? Just all you have to do is just miss. That's all you have to do. And so anyway, we'll see where it goes. All right, check this out. This is just a little fun here.
Oh, there they are, right there.
That's obviously the rocket boosters there coming down. I find it hard to believe that people online talk about, well, they talk about Elon being an idiot. Whenever I see that, I just immediately assume that the person is an idiot. Because how can, look, it's just objectively, this guy is smart. Even if, I mean, you can't get that lucky. You can't. Guy's probably an alien. So, anyway, let's see what else we got here. Oh, Scott Adams. I wanted to say real quick, shout out to Scott. If you've never listened to Scott, he is interesting. You got to listen to him on Fast Forward. Otherwise, it is terribly slow. I don't know what it is, but the guy speaks just so freaking slow. You just have to speed it up. But he's interesting. He's had an interesting life, interesting experiences. He was well educated. He has comedic background, and he is dying right now of colon cancer, I believe, or prostate cancer. And he was supposed to die like in the summertime. So he's hanging in there. And it's interesting because he really pours his heart out on the shows. He really seems to just be talking from his heart and just sharing whatever has come to his mind that day. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I obviously haven't found the exact format here for what I'm doing. I'm just playing around with some of the tools right now. And I can't really focus full time on this right now because I'm sort of a caretaker at 24 hours on call, and it's very disruptive on multiple levels. But trying to get it together for you so I can show you some more things. This is interesting. Check this out. This little statue I had never seen before. This is a tiny lion, obviously, in the exact shape of the Sphinx. And you got to think that this is probably what it really looked like to begin with. Because why else would we have this thing? This to me looks like a model. And I just thought it was really cool. So figured I'd share that with you. All right. Let's see. All right. I've got lots of cool videos. Nothing much to talk about that's serious other than what we already have. But I just got to show you this. All right. This is kind of fun too. Some things on the internet are just so fun. This guy, well, watch this. That's horrible. That's absolutely horrible. You see what's going on there? This poor guy. He obviously did this for a gag on the internet. And now he got so many hits that now he just has to keep doing it. Because it's paying money. And so he flaps until his arms give out, and then he goes and gets another face, and he does it again. Oh God, the things the internet gets people to do. And there's all these crazy videos on here. Oh shoot. Well, like I said, I don't know, losing my steam here. I'll let you go. Just wanted to share that about the speech thing and the guns thing. If you have any questions about it, let me know. I'll be happy to answer it. And otherwise, have a great